tri-fold shutter card is the name of the fun fold. And again, it's using the In the Pines stamp set and corresponding die set. That's just beautiful if you want to make your own kind of forest setting, or if you want to have just an accent tree or two. Really, really pretty for the holiday season, but also just winter type cards in general. And it goes nicely, you know, if you think about our Merry Moose, or you think about some of the other nature sets that we have with little animals and things scampering around in the forest. This is a really beautiful set for that kind of card. The other thing that I'm using on the card is this designer paper from Heartwarming Hugs. So in the catalog, that paper matches up with a coffee themed stamp set, but I'm just using it for anything Christmassy because I love the color combination and all the different patterns. So I used 3 different designs from Heartwarming Hugs in this tri-fold shutter card. So again, you don't have this packet, but if you would like to make this card, the packets will be available. And it's actually going to be 2 cards, 2 card packets for $4. So you'll have the supplies to make this one in Mossy Meadow. And then the one that I'm going to show you and actually put together here for this demo is going to be with Real Red. So if you can see, I know it's a little hard to see, but right here we have some embossing done on the white that sits behind the tree. And that's from the In the Pines folder. Again, very, very hard to see on screen, but it just has this really nice kind of skyline of pine trees, and they're just beautiful. So what I did in order to get that little piece of white is that I just placed it like in this one spot on the embossing folder and just took those trees that I wanted for my own miniature skyline of trees. So I will talk about that a little bit more when we talk about the card, but this is how the card opens up.
Oh, wow.
So it's a little bit longer left to right than your normal card. This is 11 inches by 5.5, and it is scored in several different places. And then once I score it, I turned it to cut this little area here out so that this can be a mountain fold, while this under here is a valley fold. So that's how we get that pop up, if you will, or that pop out effect for the card. But it still folds so that you can send it in the mail. So again, I used the Pine stamp set here. It's a 2-step stamping stamp set so that I have the tree outlines, and then the inside of the trees is a different clear stamp. And I use that embossing folder here on the white. And then this really pretty ribbon is our Mossy Meadow striped ribbon, also available in the catalog near the Heartwarming Hugs designer paper. So let's take a look at how I put this together. I'm going to kind of tuck this one in here on the side, although it's not going to want to stay. There we go. All right. So again, if you wanted to make this at home at another time, you would get the supplies to make the Mossy Meadow version and the Real Red version. And that's 2 cards for $4. And if you want to do that, you can let me know, and you can have as many of them as you would like to buy. But you can let me know in chat or later on, that's fine too. All right, so let me separate all of this out. I did like to use, you know, some coordinating but contrasting pieces or designer paper patterns, if you will, just so that I have a little variety. And here's where I emboss that paper. It's very hard to see on camera. These are the 2 pieces that I die cut to make the tree. They just really nicely layer over. Now you could stamp the tree as well and use the die cuts to cut it out, but I just really liked this monochromatic look. All right, so then I have all my pieces and parts. Okay, so to start, I'm going to fold this part so that I kind of form the back or the base of the card. All right, then I look at my sample here. This is a valley, and this is my inside of my card, and then I would fold this part over in a mountain. This next part is a valley, but I'm not going to fold the pop-up as a valley. That stays a mountain. And then I don't have to fold this last part here, okay? And I know that you're not doing this, but I'm just talking through it so that you could watch this video. If you were to have these packets at home, you could watch it again to see how to do it. All right, so then we just start gluing on all of the different pieces, starting with the inside of the card. Just use Whisper White because it coordinates so nicely with the red and green. And on this one I stamped, "It's the most wonderful time of the year." I love that sentiment, and that does not come from the pine set. It comes from this wrapped in Christmas stamp set that goes with all the coffee paraphernalia stamp set in the catalog. And it's right down here. It's the most wonderful time of the year. But I love some of these sayings. They're so cool. This one is Christmas blessings to you and yours, or may your days be merry and bright. Really fun, really cute things. So I'm putting that on, and then I'm going to put this small strip of designer paper that can go on the side of the white, just to add a little accent. And it's fun with all the different patterns in the pack of designer paper. You could use any combination that you would want to make this. Then we use our longer, wider strips of designer paper for these two spots. So I'm going to add those. I think I better start getting a plan in place for all my Christmas cards this year, because I remember how long it took last year to make all of them. Oh my goodness.
How many do you make?
It's usually about 150.
Holy moly.
And in the past, I have taken, you know, supplies that were left from different card events, and I start there. And that will usually get me to about, 100 or so. And then I just choose one more design and do an assembly line, you know, manufacturing process to get all of that done. But oh my goodness, it takes a long, long time, and I usually get them out then probably on the 26th or the 27th. That's when I can actually get to them. But
close enough.
if I start now, maybe I'll have a little better luck.
I've once or twice sent them out in January.
There you go, and then it can be a New Year's card. It just might still look like the holidays, right?
Exactly, it still counts.
So these are just little rectangles that go in our spots here that we made from the scoring and then from the cutting along that one, or along those edges. But look how that comes together with the nice contrast of red and green. All right, so the little pines that I stamped on the white go on this backer of Mossy Meadow. And then that's going to go on one of the pop-out panels. Okay, so very cute so far. Then I'm going to take the pine that I embossed. There is a flat side and there's a raised side, and I want the raised side to show. I'm going to put a healthy amount of adhesive on that. With my Mossy Meadow behind it. All right, now, I think I did this wrong about 3 or 4 times, and then I realized it wasn't wrong at all. I had in my mind that because this little part sticks out, that I should only put adhesive on the right side of it. But in fact, I can put adhesive on the entire back of it because I want it to adhere both to the flap that sticks out and to this base or this kind of strip over here, because that's fine. It doesn't need to stick out in order to close. It can be fully adhered on the whole thing. So I kept catching myself thinking I wasn't supposed to do it, but I can put adhesive on the entire back of this, even though half of it goes right here and half of it overlaps onto this designer paper part here. Everybody still with me?
Yep.
Right, now, looking at the sample, if I can get it folded back here, I need to adhere my tree detail to the tree, and I'm just going to use a little bit of the adhesive, kind of trying not to hit the openings, just trying to hit where I have a little bit more cardstock. I'm going to adhere that on here, and then I'm going to have to adhere the label. And that Merry Christmas comes from the Celebration Tidings stamp set. This is the one that has a set of label dies and can make little treat holder toppers with those fun patterns, and then the saying like Merry Christmas, or there's a happy haunting that can kind of go in the middle of the treat topper. But it worked really well for this card. Let's see, I did use Stampin' Dimensionals for the message, and then I'll use a glue dot for the bow. So I'm going to finish up putting that together. You could also use, you know, little Tombow. Sometimes we use the liquid glue in a container and then take a sponge to dip in the liquid glue, and then you could apply it on here, just so you don't get glue all over or adhesive all over. But I'm able to put it in the spaces around the openings. I'm going to do that, and then the tree detail goes really nicely over the tree to give it some depth and dimension. And then I will use Pop Dots on that and my label. I like how I have to hold the card down so it doesn't pop up while I'm making it. All right, probably just 3 on the tree. And I'm only going to put my dimensional on the right underside of the label because it's going to kind of tuck under the tree. All right. I'm going to position that pine there really nicely. I'm going to tuck my message label under where I can still see the C in Christmas, and I'm going to have it kind of at an angle. And then I just need a glue dot for my mossy meadow bow. Did it pick it up? Come on. All right. And there we go.
Pretty.
So again, if you like this, you get both packets to do both cards, 2 for $4, 2 cards for $4. And you can just let me know in chat or at the end if you'd like to get that as kind of an add-on to your retreat. So yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you.